After abandoning our status to live as an ordinary couple, both Ethan and I came to regret it. Having been reborn, we tacitly avoided every opportunity that could recreate our previous encounters. When we met again, he had become a renowned general returning triumphant to the capital amidst glory. Coincidentally encountering a wedding procession, he asked, "Who's getting married today?" The attendants answered, "The Parker family." "The second daughter? Why isn't Vivian seeing off her elder sister?" "Vivian is the bride." Chapter 1. The moment I learned Ethan hadn't attended the Prime Minister's garden party, I knew he'd also been reborn. In our past life, I, the daughter of a minor official, had been seated in the remotest corner. When mockery rained down, he'd coincidentally appeared to defend me. Thus began our ill-fated bond. Ill-fated because our mutual affection later faced familial opposition. One night, he climbed through my window, gripping my hands as he vowed, "Vivian, I'll renounce my military title. You abandon your privileged life. Let's escape to a hidden paradise together." Overwhelmed, I packed hastily as we faked our deaths to flee the capital. Youth blinded us to reality. Without luxury, our existence became endless hardship. The unyielding earth bloodied a nobleman's soft palms. Coarse fabrics inflamed a gentlewoman's delicate skin. Initially, love numbed our pains as we clung together. "Vivian," he'd murmur guiltily, "I've failed you." The proud Howard heir had believed himself capable of greatness without family backing, yet brought nothing but the clothes he wore. My jewelry bought us a modest cottage before funds vanished. I'd smile through blistered fingers. "You'll farm. I'll embroider. We'll survive." But time eroded illusions. News arrived of Lucas' battlefield triumphs and promotion to General of Peace. Ethan froze mid-field, manure basket in hand. That night, he sat motionless by our frost-rimmed window, recalling this campaign should have been his. His warmth toward me chilled. He grew distracted, obsessively tracking Lucas' achievements, battle glory, royal favor, even betrothal to a princess. While listening to tales of Lucas' grandeur, he forgot his promise to accompany me to the physician. I'd protested earlier, "It's just fatigue. Save our coins." But he'd insisted with strange fervor, "I swore to provide for you." Perhaps Lucas' legend of purchasing rare medicines for his princess bride haunted him, watching snowflakes settle on his familiar yet alien features. I whispered, "I'll wait for you." Outside, the winter storm raged on. The thin winter coat offered no protection against the biting wind. Ethan hadn't returned, battling the blizzard and my own dizzy weakness. I finally found him slumped over the bar counter, reeking of whiskey. The bartender spotted me. "Vivian!" "About time. No tabs allowed, pay up now." My eyes widened at the bill. This amount would have been pocket change before we left the Howard family. But now, this represented every penny Ethan and I had scraped together through months of odd jobs. "Too steep?" The bartender sneered. "Broke folks shouldn't play aristocrat." "I'm Lucas's brother, my ass." "Delusional drunkard." Ethan suddenly lunged, slamming him against a pillar. "Who the hell do you think you're talking to? Apologize to her. That's my woman." "Ethan, stop," I pleaded as his fist connected with the man's face. 3 brutal punches later, the bartender finally whimpered, "Mercy! You're Lucas's brother." "Definitely." Ethan staggered back, swaying dangerously. When I moved to steady him, he shoved me violently. My hip smashed into a table edge, white-hot pain blurring my vision. "It should have been me," he roared, whiskey breath hot against my ear. The military glory, the political appointments, even, his voice cracked, even the royal marriage prospect. All stolen. I lay motionless, physical pain drowned by colder realization. His drunken confession continued, regrets. So many regrets. Next morning, I moved mechanically through our shabby kitchen routine. Ethan massaged his temples. Viv? Turning with practiced smile. I gestured at steaming congee. Breakfast's ready. There's hangover soup too. His face paled. Did I say anything last night? Just snored through your stupor. I lied smoothly. Relief flooded his features as he pulled me into an embrace, our first intimate contact in months. Having you as my wife, it's enough. He murmured into my hair. Over his shoulder. I stared at the frozen dirt mound in our yard, suddenly remembering Father's grave. He was a mid-ranking official in Jinling, yet renowned throughout the city for his devotion to his wife. Everyone spoke of Mr. Parker's unwavering loyalty to his lady, with not a single concubine in their manor. But only I knew he kept a beautiful mistress outside. Every time he returned from visiting her, guilt flickered in his eyes when facing my mother's concerned gaze. Afterwards, he'd shower her with excessive affection for days. When I heard his hollow promises, I forced a smile. I feel the same. I lied. Ethan thought he alone harbored regrets. But this morning, I learned my sister Sophie's wedding procession included 2 sets of Mrs. Parker's most prized jade hairpieces, exquisite masterpieces worth fortunes. A single fragment could sustain Ethan and me comfortably for months. One set had been meant for me. In that moment, I too regretted everything. Fortunately, fate granted reprieve. When I opened my eyes, I found both Ethan and I had been reborn back before our first meeting at the flower viewing banquet. This time, he never came. When Sophie suggested peeking at the gentlemen's seating, I declined. Throughout the event, I maintained unusual composure, enduring noble girl's mockery without retort. Since when did you become so meek, Vivian? Sophie stared, chewing her cheek. At 14, she still radiated childish curiosity, unaware of how swiftly words became weapons. Empty words aren't worth retaliation. I explained. My previous life's folly, abandoning everything for Ethan's sweet promises, had taught me harsh lessons. As a minor official's daughter, provoking these socialites meant inviting endless trouble. The old Vivian from the inner chambers had died. Hardship reshaped me, now I craved wealth and influence, not fleeting pride. Look! Sophie suddenly gasped, pointing at the archery grounds. Isn't that the legendary Ethan? The young heir moved with predatory grace, drawing admiring sighs. Sophie's odd exclamation proved too loud for her station. Chloe, the minister's daughter, shoved her down, sneering. How dare you vie for Master Howard's attention? A petty official's brat should know her place. Exactly. Her companions chimed. The Parkers are barely notable in Jinling. Such shameless ambition. Sophie trembled, tears welling. I never meant. You dare address me as equal? Chloe's palm swung viciously toward Sophie's face, a blow meant to scar both cheek and marriage prospects. But before impact, a hand intercepted her wrist. Sophie opened tearful eyes to find the anticipated pain absent. Sister! Miss Dawson. My younger sister may have been impolite, but this is the Howard family's garden party. By any measure, it's not your place to discipline guests. My voice remained steady. Chloe narrowed her eyes. Are you threatening me? Who do you think you are? Your father's a minor official and your mother's a mere merchant's daughter. Even if your parents begged on their knees today, they wouldn't be fit to stand before the Douglas family. The commotion drew attention. Male guests murmured, "What's this? Another squabble over Ethan? Don't all these girls fawn over the Howard heir? Though that's clearly the Douglas minister's daughter, cross her and you'll regret it." The other ones from the Parker family, I believe. Lesser standing. At the mention of Parker, Ethan stiffened. His gaze snapped toward the source, only to meet a familiar ramrod straight back. Someone nudged him. Aren't you going to mediate, Ethan? The girl's suffering for your sake. Don't let her face unjust trouble. The air stilled. Men don't intrude on ladies' affairs. Ethan's voice betrayed nothing. Yet I remembered, in our past life, he'd stood before me like a shield. Now, certainty crystallized. Ethan remembered too. This time, he meant to sever our ill-fated bond. I should grieve. We'd shared vows. After all. Instead, relief flooded me. Good. Let us walk separate paths. Debts settled. Meeting Chloe's glare. I stated, if that's your belief. Chloe. Vivian has nothing more to say. But you will not touch my sister. Humiliated before the Ethan she admired, Chloe raised her other hand. Let's see you defy me now. The slap came swift, yet laughably slow to marshal trained eyes. Ethan's muscles tensed to intervene. Then our shared memories flashed, fugitive nights. My retreating figure. Jaw tightening. He rooted himself in place. I stood unmoving as the blow descended. Miss Dawson. A honeyed voice sliced through the tension. The hostess emerged. All gracious smiles. What delightful diversion brings everyone here. Madam Howard's arrival froze Chloe's hand midair. Insulting the Parkers was one matter, offending the Howard matriarch? Unthinkable, not when the Douglas family owed their status to Howard patronage. Before Chloe could respond, I smiled. Merely friendly banter. Madam. Chloe and I discovered we're kindred spirits. The dispute between the young ladies was dismissed as mere playful banter. Chloe couldn't argue. Only secretly shaking off my hand. Maintaining composure. I curtsied to the Chancellor's wife. Vivian pays her respects. Madam. The older woman observed everything with penetrating eyes. So you're the Parker family's daughter? A proper young lady indeed. The garden party concluded without further incident. Sophie remained dazed even as we boarded the carriage. On our return journey, we glimpsed Chloe twisting her handkerchief coyly before Ethan. She abruptly thrust the lace into his palm and fled without a backward glance. Ethan neither avoided nor discarded the token, standing motionless with the fabric clutched in hand. How could the Howard heir favor someone like her? Sophie's admiration shattered like dropped porcelain. Still shaken from Chloe's earlier aggression, I gazed impassively at the scene. Others' affections concern us not. Mind your own conduct. Sophie. That's all that matters. My sister nodded vigorously. I'll always heed you. Vivian. The carriage curtain fluttered upward with spring's breath. Ethan turned abruptly, our eyes locking through the opening. Strangely guilty. He jerked the handkerchief behind his back like a caught thief. Vivian. I never. What explanation could matter? Our paths diverged long ago. Cutting him off. I ordered the coachman home. The curtain fell, leaving Ethan staring after our retreating carriage. Confusion etching his features. 3 months passed. Ethan departed for war. In our past life, we'd abandoned status to marry as commoners, making his younger brother Lucas shoulder this duty. Regret bred recklessness, this lifetime. Ethan volunteered himself, with Lucas as lieutenant. The procession drew crowds. Many noble daughters watched secretly from balconies as the Howard heir kept glancing backward, perhaps seeking, or awaiting, someone unseen. Vivian's buried herself in embroidery and books since the garden party. Sophie complained cheerfully. She'll turn into library dust. Mother sighed. Some fortunate girl will catch that young man's eye. Never imagining her own daughters. She added pragmatically. Though matching our station? More curse than blessing. The Howards would never accept minor officials' daughters as brides. Silence hung until servants announced unexpected visitors. The Chancellor's wife herself arrived, to propose marriage. Absurdity lingered until revealed. The groom in question was Liam Douglas, sickly widower of the Dawson family. That young man is my husband Liam Douglas's prized student. Though his health has always been fragile. He was married once, but his bride passed shortly after the wedding. His family can't bear to see him alone. which made me think of Miss Chloe. The Chancellor's wife turned to me with a practiced smile. I noticed your particular enthusiasm at the flower viewing banquet. But everyone knew the truth, the Douglas heir wasn't just sickly, but cursed. The whole capital whispered how his first bride had died before the ceremony ended. This proposed match wasn't about marriage, but finding a sacrificial lamb for a dying man's last rites. My mother's knuckles whitened around her teacup. We're grateful for your consideration, but our Vivian is still young. We hope to keep her with us a few more years. Nonsense. My father cut in, eyes gleaming at the Chancellor's attention. This honor from Madam Chancellor is beyond our expectations. The unspoken bargain hung heavy, his stagnant political career revitalized through this alliance. My mother's protest died as the Chancellor's wife set down her porcelain cup with deliberate calm. Shouldn't we hear Miss Parker's own thoughts? All eyes turned to me. I asked only, what's the dowry? Enough to sustain 10 lifetimes of luxury. Political influence? The Douglas name opens every door in the capital. She waited for questions about looks or health. I didn't care. I accept. Even our shrewd matchmaker blinked. She'd expected resistance to wedding a dying omen. But I'd already lived through Mother's miserable marriage and my own failed elopement with Ethan. Love? Empty fairy tales. Gold and power never betrayed anyone. I'd marry a corpse if the price was right. The wedding date? August 8th, most auspicious. Fate's cruel joke that very day. Ethan returned triumphant as General of Everlasting Victory. Through my crimson veil, I heard cheering crowds mistaking my bridal procession for his military parade. Last life. We'd fled with only the clothes we wore, exchanging vows with wildflowers as rings. He'd whispered promises of future grandeur through my makeshift veil. Now his procession passed my palanquin, both of us playing our parts in different pageants. My jeweled headdress weighed heavier than any crown. He never knew the woman in red behind silk curtains was the same girl who'd once believed his pretty lies. Let him have his battle glory. I'll take the Douglas fortune and legacy. At least the ghosts I marry won't break promises. Accustomed to a life of luxury, Ethan found himself drowning in regret after being reduced to humble fare and achieving nothing. When news came of his younger brother Lucas's promotion, he drank himself into oblivion. In that drunken haze, he swore if given another chance, he'd choose differently. Yet upon reopening his eyes to relive pivotal moments, his first instinct upon seeing me was escape. We should have remained strangers. Then why did his hands tremble when accepting Chloe's handkerchief as Vivian passed by? The question haunted Ethan for years. During military campaigns, a subordinate noticed his distraction. After hearing the confession, the soldier shrugged. Simple solution, make her your concubine and marry someone of equal status. But how could she be a concubine? Ethan blurted. The soldier laughed. Why not? A minor official's daughter should leap at becoming General Howard's mistress. If she truly loves you, she'll understand this secures your future. Ethan's epiphany struck like thunder. Last life. They'd faked deaths when his family rejected Vivian as primary wife. Now he realized, keep her as mistress while maintaining status. Surely Vivian's love would overlook mere titles. Returning triumphant, he encountered wedding processions. Who marries today? The Parkers. Vivian's younger sister? Where's the eldest? Vivian's the bride. His sword clattered on Jeanling's cobblestones. The invincible general's composure shattered. Across town, similar chaos unfolded at the Douglas estate. Chloe, greet your new sister-in-law. The matriarch ordered. Never. Chloe stomped. I won't claim some sickly stranger's wife as family. Her fleeing footsteps echoed through the bridal hall. Beneath my red veil, I sensed the awkward silence. The matriarch's chuckle sounded brittle. Pay her no mind, she fears her brother Liam's affection might shift. The unspoken truth hung heavier than my embroidered headdress. My father-in-law stayed silent. My brother-in-law Derek caroused elsewhere, slurring. Who attends a consumptive's wedding? Bad luck. My husband Liam. The Douglas family's prodigal heir? A rooster clucked where the groom should stand. The esteemed Minister Douglas's prized son remained too frail for ceremony, replaced by poultry as tradition dictated. Thus began my marriage into the Douglas family. Welcomed by neither in-laws nor husband. Only a bird's indifferent crowing. Unfortunately, fate was cruel. At 10 years old, Ethan Howard fell into water and never fully recovered. Palace physicians spoke in veiled terms but agreed on one conclusion: the eldest Howard's son was clearly marked for an early grave. From then on, his family paid him little attention. Even his first marriage arrangement had been a farce. The Howards salvaging their reputation by matching him with a terminally ill girl. His younger brother Lucas sneered, "Two invalids marrying? Might as well die together." The bride didn't even survive the wedding ceremony. The eldest Howard's son became the family joke, until his grandparents intervened to arrange this current marriage. This explained why Mother had been so vehemently against the match when the Dowager Duchess approached us. "We may not be nobility," she hissed after the Duchess left, gripping my arm. "But we don't sell our daughters for status. Why would you agree to this, Vivian?" She had reason for outrage. Our wealth came from her merchant family, though no amount of gold could erase the social stain of commerce. She'd married down to father, a minor official. Now that same man had betrayed us. "I'll marry whomever I must," I calmly replied. Why not choose the highest position within reach? Men's characters were unknowable, but wealth and influence were tangible. Though the Howards scorned Liam, his grandparents' favor mattered more. The Dowager Duchess herself had vowed, "Come to me if you face any mistreatment. Child, I'll champion your cause." This was the best match my merchant-blooded self could hope for. Besides, father already consented. Mother's face hardened at the mention of his betrayal. For 3 years she tolerated his mistress and bastard son, refusing divorce. Let those snakes inherit my fortune? Never! Yet even her famed marital prowess hadn't foreseen this final treachery, using his daughter to climb bureaucratic ladders. My previous life's different choices brought no happiness. Why hesitate now? Liam's health and family mattered less than securing the Duchess' protection. Let them mock, what were petty humiliations compared to plowing fields, tending silkworms, and serving Lucas until my hands bled? When the wedding procession arrived with a rooster instead of groom, I merely smiled. Mother-in-law's attempt to shame me? Pathetic. Chloe means no harm. I demurred as the younger Dawson sister glared. Her spirit reminds me of dear Sophie. Lies, my actual sister Sophie was sweetness itself, weeping at my departure. But my gracious words spread through the crowd. What a magnanimous bride versus the Dawson girl's rudeness. The Duchess' smile faded as her ploy backfired. Proceed with the ceremony, she snapped. Let them scheme. I'd survived worse. After all, romantic notions wither faster than crops in drought. 2 acres of farmland taught that lesson well. If Liam is too frail, I'm sure my thoughtful daughter-in-law won't mind substitutions. Of course I didn't mind. I married into the status of the Douglas family matriarch, not her son. They could have used a dog instead of this rooster. For all I cared, I'd still kneel. I calmly lowered myself as the officiant boomed, "Bow to heaven and earth." The rooster at my side flapped its wings. "Bow to ancestors." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. "Now face your..." Wait! The interruption came from a voice I'd recognize anywhere. My fingers clenched as I rose, blindly turning toward the disturbance. General Ethan? Someone gasped. Others whispered. Didn't the Howard brothers just return victorious? Lucas was named undefeated general today. Why's Ethan here? Perhaps the Douglases invited them? Unlikely. My in-laws barely acknowledged this sham wedding. Yet Mother Douglas simpered. General Ethan, why weren't we informed? Please, join the celebration. Ethan's reply came sharp as sword steel. I'm not here for wine. The insult hung heavy. All eyes followed his armored figure stalking toward me, battle-grimed and trembling with barely contained fury. This defied everything we'd agreed upon in our second lives to walk separate paths. Why now? Why publicly humiliate me? I staggered back, only to be steadied by skeletal fingers clutching my waist. Bitter herbs and weakness wafted from the man in matching crimson robes. Liam's voice, frail yet cutting, sliced through tension, seeking my sister. General Ethan? Perhaps let us finish vows first? The crowd murmured approval. Everyone knew Ethan's unofficial engagement to Chloe. But when Ethan saw Liam's hand on me, his control snapped. I didn't come to husband. I deliberately swayed into Liam's arms, playing the blushing bride. The act doused Ethan's fury like icy water. Mother Douglas frowned at her eldest. Liam? Shouldn't you be bedridden? The coughing man tightened his grip on me. Wouldn't miss my wedding. Mother. This is my son's wedding day. As husband and wife, you are one flesh. Even if you only have one breath left, you should complete the ceremony with your bride. With that, he looked up behind Ethan. My sister has arrived. True to his words, Chloe appeared, though all traces of her earlier disdain toward me had vanished. Instead, her face glowed with delight. General, what brings you here? The rage-blinding Ethan finally subsided. He turned slowly to face the blushing Chloe, his back drenched in cold sweat. Only now did he realize what he'd nearly done. He'd achieved greatness, destined to marry the daughter of a high official, a perfect match. Had he ruined this wedding in a fit of passion? Everything would have collapsed, the marriage dissolved. His father's hopes dashed. Censors impeaching him. He'd revert to the failure he'd been in his past life, forever overshadowed by his younger brother Lucas. All for Vivian. Was she worth it? Ethan answered through gritted teeth, I came to see Miss Dawson. My haste prevented me from bringing gifts. My apologies to Mr. Douglas and Mrs. Douglas. My mistake. The answer was no, she wasn't worth it. After this interruption, the rooster meant to humiliate me was removed. Someone now held the other end of the red silk. Ethan watched from the men's seating area as the final cry rang out, bowed to each other as husband and wife. Suddenly, he remembered the shy girl from his past life, the one who'd married him without fine robes or peony hairpins. He'd promised her the grandest wedding. The memory burned his ears crimson. Escort the couple to the bridal chamber. The ceremony concluded without further incident. When the guests departed, Liam entered the wedding chamber and dismissed the servants. Red candles flickered in the silence. He lifted my veil, revealing a handsome but pallid face. Even the vibrant wedding robes couldn't disguise his sickly appearance. The rumors were true, the Douglas heir was indeed frail, marked by shortness of breath. I blinked. He expressionlessly lowered the veil and spoke, I don't care about today's spectacle. Nor will I investigate it. You didn't choose this marriage either. Your schemes failed. This weak body can't give you what you want. Worse. I'm disliked in this household, your status here will mirror mine. Stay obediently in the eastern wing, and I'll ensure your safety. But if you cling to delusions and seek alliances elsewhere, don't blame the consequences. His weariness wasn't directed at me, but at the world itself. He seemed determined to self-destruct. When I die, you'll receive divorce papers and gold. Don't mourn me. Don't bother me. He turned toward the door without another glance. I called out, where are you going? Liam? He paused mid-step, turning to glare at me with furrowed brows. The term husband clearly displeased him, though he couldn't deny its accuracy after our ceremonial vows. The study, he gritted out, already retreating when I yanked him back by the sleeve. Where do you think you're going? I arched an eyebrow. Abandoning your bride on our wedding night? Do you want me to become tomorrow's laughingstock? My social standing couldn't afford such humiliation. Liam stumbled when I pulled him onto the bed, his pale face flushing crimson between coughs. "Have you lost your mind? Completing our vows," I stated matter-of-factly, already removing my hairpins. "The procession, the ceremony, you agreed to this union." His bitter laugh rattled in his chest. "Who'd willingly marry a dying man? Me." The shock in his storm-gray eyes fueled my resolve as I leaned in. Wealthy young widowhood suited my plans perfectly. When the Douglas family servants came knocking at dawn, I greeted them radiantly. The head housekeeper dropped her washbasin at the sight. Liam sat wrapped in bedsheets like a deflowered maiden, neck littered with love bites as he hissed, "Get out!" I adjusted my collar, ignoring the scandalized gasps. Since when did society expect brides to play the shrinking violet? The housekeeper's stunned examination of the blood-stained bedsheet only deepened Liam's humiliation. "You actually. But Master Liam never allows." "Out!" he roared, sending servants scrambling. Watching the commotion, I hid a smile. Let the Douglas family chew on this. Their frail, reclusive heir might play the invalid, but last night proved there was life in the dying man yet. When Liam angrily tossed aside the covers, the glimpse of lean muscle beneath his sleep shirt suggested interesting possibilities. This marriage of convenience just became significantly more entertaining. My hand trembled slightly as I reached for the robe. The next moment, someone naturally took the garment being handed to him. He glared up at me fiercely. "I don't need your charity. Get lost." He snatched his clothes back violently, but broke into cold sweat merely from putting on the undergarments. I stood motionless, watching intently as his pride warred with physical limitations. The more disheveled he became, the angrier he grew until he slammed his fist into the quilt and collapsed onto the bed, forearm covering his eyes. Heavy breathing echoed through the silent room. Without speaking, I efficiently dressed him. He muttered bitterly, "Vivian, you claimed marrying me was voluntary. Doesn't this pathetic sight make your lie laughable?" I blinked. "Pathetic? You were perfectly capable last night." The reference to our wedding night made Liam forget his melancholy. He jerked upright, face flushing crimson. How dare you bring that up? Forcing yourself on me, I'll never forgive you." I silenced him with a kiss. "Get used to being unforgiven then." Bland married life held no appeal. His ears turned scarlet at the implication. "Shameless. How peculiar." I mused. "We've already seen each other bare as newborns." Liam's fatalistic stubbornness extended to his family. When we went to greet his parents, the elder Douglases made no effort at courtesy. His father began, "Since Liam's health is failing, you'd better serve him properly." Liam sneered, "I'm ill, not helpless." His mother added, "At least try to produce a grandson and heir. Don't embarrass us like barren livestock." "Mother's so concerned about heirs," Liam retorted. "Would you truly celebrate if I sired an heir before Derek?" Chloe pointed at me accusingly. "Useless woman. Can't even control your own husband." Before I could respond, Liam snapped, "Mind your tongue, brat. Who taught you to disrespect your elders?" The confrontation escalated when Derek stumbled in reeking of alcohol. "Think your sickness gives you rights, brother?" He slammed the table. "Disrespecting parents. Making Chloe cry. I'll teach you manners." Liam eyed him contemptuously. "You? Giving lectures?" "Liam!" Their mother finally intervened when her younger son was insulted. "How dare you speak to Derek like that? He'll be head of this household after." She trailed off meaningfully. "Even your widow will depend on his mercy someday." Derek yelled, "I won't take charity cases. The Douglas fortune is mine alone, no sickly leftovers or widows." If the words are too blunt, it wouldn't be the first time they've been said. No wonder Liam treated them so harshly, completely unlike the reasonable demeanor he showed me last night. I smiled, resting my hand on Liam's forearm and speaking before he could. "What kind of talk is that? Brother-in-law? My husband may be frail, But he's far from death's door. As his younger brother. Cursing your own elder brother like this, if word got out. Your political career would suffer dearly once you enter public service. Chloe, who'd always disliked me, opened her mouth to retort. But I turned to her first. Little sister, you're about to marry into the Howard family. If rumors spread about you disrespecting your elder brother, even Ethan might reconsider such a union. Don't you think? Lies. Chloe stomped her foot. Ethan would never abandon me. As if I cared about Ethan's whims. I met my in-laws' gazes. My husband's harsh words stem from prolonged illness. Not malice. I apologize on his behalf. However, my tone sharpened. Our nation's laws clearly dictate inheritance passes through the eldest legitimate son, then the eldest grandson. Only if both lines perish does responsibility fall to younger sons. With all respect, mother-in-law, your earlier remarks dangerously overstep these principles. Such talk must never be repeated. I tilted my head toward the family patriarch. Don't you agree, father-in-law? A man in his high-ranking position knew better than anyone how easily political rivals could exploit missteps. Minister Douglas studied me for 2 seconds before coldly declaring, while this is a family matter, everyone must still guard their tongues, especially you two. He glared at Chloe and Derek. Another outburst. And you'll be confined to your quarters. As for Liam and me, he spared us neither glance nor reprimand, murmuring as he passed, watch your step. A powerful man hates nothing more than being cornered. His eldest son's defiance he could tolerate. But a new daughter-in-law joining the rebellion? Unforgivable insolence. Good. Their approval gained me neither silver nor influence, only endless humiliation. Why bother pretending? I hadn't forgotten why I married into this house. Fortunately, neither had the Prime Minister's wife. She visited the Douglas estate the next day, first inspecting Liam's improved health, then clasping my hands warmly. I knew you were a clever girl. Finally, she addressed my mother-in-law, Margaret. You should have begun teaching your new daughter-in-law household management long ago. Every gently bred girl learned estate management before marriage. This was a thinly veiled command: stop hoarding authority. Give the bride her rightful position. Margaret's smile turned brittle, her eyes promising retribution. The Prime Minister's son served in the Southwestern Territories, leaving his parents lonely. Let's be frank, the Douglas family enjoyed the Prime Minister's favor not through Minister Douglas' merit, but because he'd watched Liam grow up, treating him like a grandson. This truth became undeniable after Liam's near-fatal drowning. Ever since that incident, Liam was deliberately neglected by the Douglas couple. Even the Chancellor's wife came to reason with them. Even if Liam is frail, he's still your child. How can you be so short-sighted, favoring your younger son while mistreating him? My mother-in-law's response at the time was flawless. You wrong me, Madam Chancellor. The boy receives the same food and clothing as Derek. When have we ever neglected him? The Chancellor's wife fell silent. True, the material provisions were identical, but some invisible things differed. In private, my mother-in-law would complain bitterly, his birth nearly killed me. We thought we'd gotten an exceptional heir, only to end up with this sickly creature within a few years. Were it not for the Chancellor's pity for his former brilliance, I couldn't bear looking at his self-pitying face. Her laugh turned cold. Accuse me of favoritism? With my eldest son ruined, should I neglect raising my second son? Shall we all starve clinging to a corpse later? It was precisely this blatant partiality that brought the Chancellor's wife here. Her matchmaking promise to me became Liam's sole protection. Whatever her motives, I'd gained control of the household. In the courtyard, Liam watched me tally accounts with my abacus. His smile laced with mockery. Wasn't this your true purpose for marrying in? My fingers stilled. I blinked innocently. Whatever do you mean, husband? My pulse quickened. The Douglas wealth was staggering. Now even those who despised me had to bow respectfully. As for my mother-in-law, her constant scheming proved futile. Did she forget my merchant mother's blood? No ledger could outwit me. Every plot crumbled beneath my calculations. The sole thorn was Derek. Both he and Chloe initially resented me. While Chloe's petty thefts funded dresses and jewels, Derek's polo matches and tavern binges drained hundreds weekly. Coddled by his mother, he operated without restraint. As the new bride, I couldn't rein him too harshly. For now, he got his way. But only for now. I'd achieved my goal. Not my husband's love, but genuine power and wealth. Liam's brilliance remained intact despite his failing body. He saw through everything yet couldn't be bothered to expose me. Now he lounged nearby, exacting petty revenge for our wedding night coercion. Enjoy your triumph while it lasts. In 3 to 5 years. Why 3 to 5? I interrupted. His pale face twisted into that infuriating smirk. That's when I die. A childless widow? My mother would transfer every asset to Derek before my body cools. Did you truly think she surrendered control out of kindness? The abacus bead clattered to the floor. Liam's cough echoed softly, might happen sooner. I stood abruptly. He expected coddling, now gentle care instead of coercion. Half right. I summoned physicians galore. Though even royal doctors couldn't cure his childhood affliction. The bitter medicines multiplied. Beyond that, I still forced his compliance, taking what I wanted before dressing him briskly each morning. Business as usual. The household bowed to my management. Derek caroused daily with friends. When asked about imperial exams, he'd wave dismissively, with my talents? If I fail, father's connections suffice. The Douglas fortune will be mine regardless. Meanwhile, Chloe was busy romancing Ethan. Several times, the two of them bumped into me in the backyard. Ethan always seemed to want to say something when he saw me, but restrained himself in Chloe's presence. He'd achieved his ambitions this lifetime, no reckless decisions. Backed by the Howard family's influence. Everything smooth sailing. Marrying into the Dawson family would boost his prospects even further. I felt indifferent about it all, but asked Chloe anyway, "Are you truly set on marrying Ethan?" She glared defensively. "Why wouldn't I? You just can't stand me marrying well. Can you? Don't think I'm oblivious. Sophie's been trying to steal my fiancé. And who knows if you as her sister might help sabotage me." "Listen, Vivian," she snapped. "Stop scheming against me. If mother finds out, you'll pay dearly." She demanded extravagant dowry preparations, warning me as household accountant not to be stingy. I sighed and didn't press further. As for my mother-in-law, we maintained fragile civility. Liam had resigned himself. Thus we stumbled through 6 strained months of marriage. They say shared nights create lasting bonds. But beyond forcing conjugal duties every fortnight, we coexisted peacefully enough. I even carefully selected his medicines and helped him dress each morning. When he coughed up blood that first time, Liam looked deathly pale, breath shallow as candle smoke. I summoned physicians frantically. Watching my panic, he rasped, "Vivian, let it go." I froze mid-motion. Blood streaked his lips as he smiled weakly. "Just let go. Remember what I said before? The small box on the study's first shelf contains divorce papers and enough funds for your lifetime. Don't mourn me, remarry if you wish. Don't fight mother either, without me. You're just an outsider here." His labored breathing filled the silence. "Take the money, leave. Facing death often softens tongues. Yet even now our shallow marital bond couldn't prevent bitter exchanges." But I stayed silent. Suddenly I lunged forward, gripping his collar as he stared wide-eyed. "Don't you dare die, Liam. I forbid it. At least not yet." Cold-hearted as I was, his death would leave me vulnerable before securing my position. As he said, I couldn't outmaneuver his mother alone. Despite summoning countless doctors, Liam remained comatose. The household began funeral preparations. People pitied me, bride turned widow in half a year. Even the elderly chancellor couple came, shook their heads, and left. When my mother brought Sophie to visit, she mentioned Sophie's upcoming engagement. We're selecting an auspicious date, she said, adding father's health improved and I should return home when the time comes. Her unspoken words hung heavy. Sophie teared up, but mother silenced whatever she meant to say. The subtle movement didn't escape my notice. I grasped her hand. Mom, is everything truly all right at home? She squeezed back firmly. Silly girl. Would anything happen while I'm here? Don't forget, I didn't reach this position by being weak. Her voice held steel. As long as I breathe, nothing will touch our family. The room emptied, leaving only Liam lying unconscious on the bed, his shallow breaths barely disturbing the silence. A gust of wind carried a white dove to my windowsill, its leg bearing a message. My eyes hardened as I read the words, "Say yes and I'll help you fake your death." I held the note over a candle flame, watching until every trace of "I'll help you fake your death" turned to ash. Crash! The door burst open. My mother-in-law's matron loomed in the doorway. "The madam requests your presence, now." The fragile calm shattered. Tea splattered across my skirts as a cup exploded at my feet the moment I entered the hall. "How dare you remain standing?" Mother Douglas's whip-crack voice ordered. "Get on your knees." I knelt without protest. The entire household had gathered, Patriarch Douglas presiding, Chloe smirking, Mother Douglas radiating fury, and Derek chiming in, "She deserves worse." "May I know what offense I've committed?" I asked calmly. "How dare you play innocent?" Mother Douglas snapped. Patriarch Douglas leaned forward. "As household accountant, did you grant Derek's requests for funds?" "Naturally. As any dutiful sister-in-law would. Even when he demanded 10,000 taels?" His roar shook the room. Did it never occur to ask why a scholar needs such sums during exam season? Only then did I notice Derek's bruised face. A sister-in-law doesn't pry into her brother's private affairs. Private? The patriarch's face purpled. He gambled it all away. "This is your doing, you enabled his addiction." Mother Douglas's jeweled finger stabbed toward me. "I trusted you with our finances against my better judgment. Yet you've proven incapable, no, complicit. First ruining Liam. Now Derek, our last hope." Chloe tittered behind her sleeve. "I warned you merchants' daughters only know dirty tricks. Letting her manage accounts? Now Derek's disgraced right before the imperial exams. You wretched." The patriarch's glare swung between Derek and me. Derek pointed wildly. "She's the viper. Giving me whatever I wanted, it's called killing with kindness. Classic inheritance snatching scheming. Clearly, Vivian was after the family fortune all along. Deliberately getting me hooked on gambling." Every word condemned me. The final blow came from Mrs. Douglas' sneer, "Truly. Her entire family's beneath contempt. Just yesterday, some bureaucrat father's kept woman showed up at our gates with an 8-year-old bastard boy in tow. What does this mean?" My composure finally cracked. The matriarch's lips curled in satisfaction. "Hadn't you heard? Your jealous mother drove your father to keep a mistress. The whole scandal's rocking Richmond. Frankly, your moral failings clearly run in the family. Who's to say you didn't sabotage Liam's recovery? Resentful of marrying an invalid, weren't you?" "I've never resented Liam. I'd never harm him. With him unconscious. How would we know?" She snapped her fingers. "This household won't tolerate your venom. Take this divorce decree and get out." Absurd. I stared at the paper Derek flung at my feet. Since when does a brother-in-law issue divorce papers? The room froze at the rasping voice behind me. "Indeed. Perhaps you'd like to die in my stead too, Derek?" Gasps erupted as Liam leaned against the doorframe, pallor accentuated by fury. "Disappointed I survived?" "Never," his mother stammered. Ignoring her, Liam touched my shoulder. Forgive my tardiness, Vivian. I remained still until his hesitant Viv met my tear-filled eyes. No need. Your recovery is all that matters. My lips trembled artfully as I turned to the assembly. Since you've all condemned me, I'll pose 3 questions. Madam Douglas, when Derek demanded extravagant funds, didn't I protest until he claimed your authorization? Why then did your servants bar me from verifying this? Preposterous. Second, I continued, why as family accountant did Mr. Douglas never review Liam's medical reports containing these warnings? The patriarch blustered. You never showed me. Third question answers itself. I produced ledger entries bearing his initials. The records you approved monthly, including these transactions, suggest either negligence or collusion. The color drained from their faces as Liam's cough broke the silence. It seems, he wheezed, we have accounting to review. Starting with Derek's gambling debts, and who enabled them. Chaos erupted as realization dawned the frail husband they'd written off had been auditing their corruption all along. Father-in-law never responded before, so I took it as silent approval. Naturally, I assumed this matter was settled. I said. Or perhaps you never actually reviewed those documents at all? Mr. Douglas remained silent before finally snapping. Of course I reviewed them. He'd rather die than admit neglecting his own flesh and blood. But if he truly had, how could this situation arise? Mr. Douglas stammered. Perhaps oversight. I nodded sympathetically. An oversight? 10 consecutive withdrawals that Derek made from family funds over months all overlooked? The room fell silent until Derek's mocking laugh cut through. If my parents truly favor their younger sons so blatantly, exploiting my illness to bully my lawful wife, let's summon the family elders today. They'll witness my removal from the Douglas family tree. Outrageous! You'd air private shame publicly? Mr. Douglas roared. Liam countered fiercely. Is it less shameful when parents conspire to steal inheritance from their eldest son's wife for their golden child? Maybe if your frail body could actually protect her. Derek taunted, oblivious to the shocked silence his words caused. The tension shattered when my maid rushed in breathless. Miss Vivian, your father collapsed. The chaos began yesterday when father's mistress paraded their illegitimate son at our doorstep. Mother ejected them. But the confrontation escalated. Father demanded legitimizing his illegitimate son or divorcing mother, forgetting his decades of cultivated reputation. Mother simply laughed. She'd fight any divorce citing his fabricated jealousy claims. Especially since he'd publicly refused concubines for years. The childless marriage? His own choice proclaimed at political gatherings. But when father stormed out to his mistress, he found her entangled with another man, their son's true parentage suddenly doubtful. The shock triggered his stroke. The lovers fled, leaving him paralyzed and speechless when found. Pathetic, Mother remarked, inspecting her nails. I merely exposed his hypocrisy. This vegetative state suits him better. Turning to me, she added, remember this lesson, Vivian. Now, did those Douglas schemers succeed? Of course not. While Liam recovered, I tracked Derek's gambling addiction and let the Howard family's mistress expose herself. The Douglas matriarch's plot crumbled, her favorite son now debt-ridden. Her reputation in tatters. During our silent carriage ride home, Liam finally spoke after nightfall. Vivian, I'm taking the civil service exams this spring. Ethan's words must have struck a nerve. He said, I thought if I wasted away on my own, they'd finally be satisfied. But I never imagined they'd try to harm you before I could even draft the divorce papers. He was right. My weakness emboldened them. His bitterness stemmed from prolonged illness, not malice. Deep down, he refused to drag me into his ruin. So he vowed, I'll fight to live longer, at least long enough to secure your future. The fool actually believed I'd suffer without him. smiling through unshed tears. I nestled against him. Then you'd better live very long indeed. The former prodigy proved his worth. After deciding to take the imperial exams, Liam sought mentorship from the retired chancellor. The old statesman, thrilled by this resurgence of ambition, became his ardent tutor. These days Liam bustled with preparations, fretting his mother might harass me in his absence. Unnecessary worry, the matriarch currently had bigger concerns. Derek's own exam ambitions and Chloe's impending wedding to Lucas consumed her attention. As the senior daughter-in-law, I helped organize the nuptials. Only a madwoman would sabotage her during wedding preparations. Any mishap would ruin her precious Chloe's big day. Not that I had time for schemes anyway. While Chloe's wedding required minimal effort, Liam's medication demanded meticulous care. Besides, I had my own project, preparing for Sophie's marriage. Mother had chosen well, the groom mirrored Sophie's previous life husband. Respectable lineage, harmonious household. When consulted, I'd voiced no objection. Yet on the wedding day, Sophie frowned at the twin jade hairpins. These were meant for us both. Why give me yours? I shook my head. Rewards are for obedient daughters. I forfeited mine. Youthful recklessness made me chase love, blind to how easily hearts change. I deserved neither hairpin nor happy ending. On my return, a drunken Lucas blocked my path. We hadn't met since his engagement. Red-eyed and slurring, he demanded, "Why must you call me brother-in-law?" His misery mirrored my past life. "Vivian, why? Why does everything still go wrong?" He swayed, liquor-scented tears falling. "I didn't choose you this time. Yet the princess still rejected me. Now I'm stuck marrying Chloe." The revelation struck like thunder. This fool's grand plan was to make me his mistress after wedding royalty? Did he truly think I'd stumble into his trap twice? Ethan Howard, you're arrogant and self-absorbed. Yet you forget there's always someone greater. Talented individuals shine brightly anywhere, with or without you. I'm grateful heaven gave me a second chance. Otherwise, my child and I would have suffered in poverty with you. Child? What child? Ethan sobered up instantly, staring at me. I closed the curtains and sneered. The one you pushed away when you were drunk that night. 2 months along. I buried him in the courtyard, that fresh mound of dirt. Ethan froze, unmoving. Time passed. Ethan married Chloe Dawson. But their union was rocky. Chloe was domineering, while Ethan fancied himself an unrecognized genius who craved a gentle, understanding virtuous wife, qualities Chloe lacked. Their strained faces during the homecoming visit said it all. A year later, Chloe refused to let Ethan take concubines, prompting him to keep mistresses and play the hero-saving courtesans, creating endless scandals. But none of this concerned me anymore. Liam Douglas had just topped the imperial exams, the top scorer. On results day, we rejoiced. Father-in-law grew contemplative while mother-in-law turned livid. Naturally, Derek Douglas had failed. We found Derek gambling recklessly in a den. Father-in-law disciplined him harshly, but it changed nothing. Derek couldn't quit. Mother-in-law had tried intervening, but Derek would shout, "You're favoring Liam now too, aren't you? Switching sides because I failed? Even father prefers him." She couldn't rebut. Derek grew bolder, so he passed? That sickly weakling will die soon anyway. The family fortune will be mine, see who'll care for you then. Spoiled rotten. He even befriended Ethan at a brothel, 2 misunderstood talents bonding over being overshadowed by siblings. No one imagined these two would cause such disaster. Ethan and Derek, determined to prove themselves, opened an illegal gambling den embezzling public funds. When exposed, mother-in-law fainted. The emperor berated father-in-law publicly. Long past his prime, father-in-law had relied on the old chancellor's support, now fully shifted to Liam. Overnight, father-in-law aged a decade. Meanwhile, Liam became the emperor's favorite. For years into our marriage, Liam remained frail yet stubbornly alive. Unexpectedly, mother-in-law and Chloe arrived demanding he plead for Derek's pardon, bringing clan elders to pressure us. Before they could speak, Liam took documents from me. Perfect timing. I've prepared this for the elders. Our mother and sister have caused endless strife. Recently, they've repented and wished to enter monastic seclusion. When did I say that? Chloe shrieked. Liam Douglas. I'm here to demand you save my husband Ethan. Liam. What nonsense are you speaking? My mother-in-law glared at me with rising panic. Was this your doing? Did you poison my son against me? She saw through me instantly. Guilty as charged. Liam distributed documents to the family council. These records show years of bribes accepted under father's name to fund Derek's debauchery. These detail Chloe's near-fatal assault on courtesans during her marital disputes, private matters turned criminal. With Derek and Lucas exiled, should we not send these two repentant souls to monastic retreat before our family's scandals become public? The room's allegiance shifted instantly. Absolutely. Lifetime devotion would show proper remorse. Then let their pilgrimage begin immediately. Better exiled nuns than family-wide disgrace. Their willingness mattered less than our survival. As guards dragged away the screaming women, my mother-in-law shrieked. Traitor! How dare you betray your own mother? Your father will, currently detained by imperial investigators for the bribery schemes you orchestrated. Liam countered icily. Chloe's pleas dissolved into whimpers. Brother. Vivian. Please, he remained unmoved. At 10. When Derek pushed me into the frozen lake. You silenced me. Through every illness. You never visited. I kept his crime secret as repayment for bearing me. We're settled. Liam. Vivian. May you both rot in. Her curse faded down the corridor. Only when the hall emptied did Liam's mask crack. Vivian, did I cross some line? He collapsed against me, blood staining his lips. Liam! My composure shattered. He smiled faintly. Enough, I've secured your future, don't you dare die. I choked out, tears splashing his pale face. My apologies, for leaving you, I'll mourn all right. I snapped through sobs. Not for myself, I'll rule the Douglas fortune as widow. These tears are for the fatherless child in my belly. Liam's eyelids flew open. What? What did you say? Liam snapped back to awareness, struggling in my arms to lift his hand. Put me down. I can still live. I managed a tearful smile. He was lying. Liam ultimately lived to 37. The physicians called it miraculous. The year he died, our son was 14. Liam had secured our boy's apprenticeship under the era's greatest scholar. Procured me a first-rank noble title. Every contingency arranged, even ensuring his family wouldn't prey upon his widow and heir after his passing. In his final moments resting against me, he said peacefully, all these years I never asked that question. Now, you wouldn't lie to spare me. So Vivian, let me ask this instead. What? I prompted. With failing breath, if there's another life, would you choose to be my wife again? My false tears had long dried. I'd wept theatrically before to drive him toward ambition. Squeezed out droplets to prolong his life for our unborn child. Now, facing true desolation, I found myself beyond tears yet more anguished than any weeping. I discovered then that even heartbreak can shape a smile as I answered. The Howard heir always believed he could achieve greatness without family connections. If, he smiled contentedly, eyes closing, never to reopen. He was truly gone. As for me, daughter-in-law of the Minister of Personnel, wife of the Right Chancellor, mother to the future Marquis of Wu, noblewoman Vivian Parker, I lived 86 years. Through decades managing household intrigues and political storms. I remained grateful Liam never asked if I loved him. Even I didn't know. Blame my father's hollow notions of devotion. blame my previous life encountering Ethan instead of him. Humans may err repeatedly, but shouldn't stumble thrice in the same pit. With Liam, I dared not gamble. I don't know if I loved him, but when he asked about another lifetime together, I hesitated not. Yes, Liam, if rebirth exists, I'd choose you again,